In the Spanish countryside, at Casa del Toro, a completely unique calf named Ferdinand resides. While the rest of his species engage in battles of strength like adult bulls, Ferdinand is completely peaceful and refuses to fight, spending his time smelling flowers and conversing with plants. One day, Ferdinand is watering a single flower that is sprouted in the center of the arena when the winner's truck arrives, causing the other calves to become ecstatic. Fernando asks what this truck is, as he has no idea what is going on, and Valiente explains that it is the vehicle that transports the strongest bull to become a star. The calves begin to argue about who will be the champion of Casa del Toro as they daydream of the day when they will become great bulls. Valiente knocks down Bones, who almost step on the arena flower, causing Ferdinand to be concerned when he realizes that the little bull is concerned about protecting the flower. Valiente threatens to destroy the plant in order to compel him to fight. However, the calf refuses to engage him in combat and begins protecting the object with his body. The bullfighter finally arrives at the observatory, and the adult bulls enter the arena to determine who will be taken. In the arena, Ferdinand's father and Valente's father vie for the bullfighter's attention, and after some time, the bullfighter chooses Ferdinand's father. Before departing, the calf asks his father if there was something wrong with his unwillingness to fight in the arena. However, his father tries to reassure him that he will be the largest bull in the arena when he matures. It's unfortunate that not even his father can comprehend him. Ferdinand bids farewell and begins to walk back to the stable. Halfway to his destination, he notices Valiente crushing his flower and leaving. Ferdinand spends several days in the stable awaiting the return of his father, the arena champion. One night, while cleaning the facility, an employee hears the winner's truck and goes to the entrance to see his father, only to discover that the truck is empty. Ferdinand flees Casa del Toro in fear as he is pursued by its employees. Realizing that this is his only chance to live a different life, he runs across the tracks and leaps into the moving train car. After hours of walking on the tracks, the train finally stops, and Ferdinand gets off the wagon lost. The young calf wanders through the forest until he hears a dog barking, at which point he tries to escape but becomes trapped and falls into the ravine. Due to the fall, Ferdinand faints, and the next morning he awakens in the barn with a young girl who has come to visit him. The young calf is initially afraid of Nina, but after discovering that she also enjoys flowers, he decides to trust her. Together with Nina, Ferdinand leaves the barn to explore the farm's fields, stopping to smell the various flowers he encounters. In this flowery paradise, Ferdinand spends his days playing with Nina and assisting Juan with farm chores. After a few years, he grows into a monstrous bull, but he continues to live with his family normally. As an adult, Ferdinand continues to assist the farm in producing flowers for the spring festival. But on the day of the festival, Juan informs Nina that Ferdinand cannot attend because he is too large. Nina refuses to attend the event because her father does not want to bring the bull, but is eventually persuaded by Juan, who suggests bringing the family dog, Paco. After they depart, Ferdinand climbs the hill and ponders whether he should disobey Juan or stay. After some time of indecision, he decides to attend the flower festival, a traditional Spanish springtime event. When he arrives, the bull begins to sniff the flowers while searching for Nina, frightening everyone who sees him. After a while of exploring the area, Ferdinand locates Nina and begins walking towards her, but his head becomes entangled in a clothesline on the way. The clumsy bull falls with his buttocks on a bee's sting when he attempts to escape. In excruciating pain and unable to see due to the vest covering his eyes, Ferdinand runs wildly throughout the area, terrifying everyone. In the midst of the chaos, he passes a balloon stand, and a child becomes lodged in his horn. The infant finds the situation extremely amusing and removes the cloth from Ferdinand's eyes. Ferdinand realizes he is running toward a vehicle and attempts to stop. However, the bull is unable to stop in time and crashes into the vehicle, causing the infant to fly away and become entangled in the string of flowers. To save him, the bull chases the infant furiously and prevents him from falling to the ground by doing so. Now that Ferdinand has calmed down, he stops running. However, as a result of the disorder he has caused, everyone around him believes he is aggressive and calls animal control, who arrives to try and capture him. Paco approaches Ferdinand and instructs him to run to the farm while he attempts to distract the men. But the humans ignore the dog and continue chasing the bull in an attempt to escape. Ferdinand runs through the alleys until he enters a house in an attempt to conceal himself. The house he enters, however, is practically a museum of extremely fragile ceramic and glass utensils. Ferdinand attempts to avoid drawing attention to himself despite his colossal size by navigating the area cautiously. As he attempts to stack the falling ceramics, however, the owner of the establishment mistakes his tail for a feather duster and begins dragging him around the house while cleaning the dishes. To the bull's dismay, however, the old woman ends up wiggling his nose while cleaning, causing him to sneeze so loudly that the little lady flies out the window, revealing her location. The police officers apprehend Ferdinand, and animal control personnel place him in a transport cabin that will take him to Casa del Toro. Nana runs to Ferdinand when she sees him being taken away and tries to convince the officers to release him. However, the officers obviously disregard her and allow him to be taken away, leaving the girl in tears and despair after a day spent awake. When he arrives at Casa del Toro, Ferdinand awakens in the middle of the night. Upon seeing the statue of the location, Ferdinand immediately recognizes where he is and panics, but his horn becomes entangled in the railing. Mr. Moreno, the owner of Casa del Toro, requests that his employees bring the goat to the animal in an attempt to calm it down. Lou, a very irrational goat, is suddenly thrown into the truck and begins to converse with Ferdinand. Since she does not stop talking for even a second, she ends up making Ferdinand even more agitated. After struggling for some time to dislodge his horn, Ferdinand finally succeeds and rolls out of the truck, landing on top of the goat. After getting up, Ferdinand assists Luke in standing and asks for her assistance, but the crazed goat believes the bull is requesting training and begins to analyze him. Luke, eager to begin training him, enters the arena to introduce her new pupil to the other bulls, but everyone recognizes Ferdinand immediately. While the other bulls are awestruck by Ferdinand's size, Valiente appears out of nowhere and begins intimidating him, just as he did when they were young. Nevertheless, Ferdinand disregards the provocation and refuses to fight. After reuniting with his old friends, Luke takes Ferdinand to the barn, where they spend the night sleeping until 3 hedgehogs break in and steal their belongings in the middle of the night. During the course of the robbery, Luke observes 3 hedgehogs and begins to provoke them, resulting in an all-out war between species. Fernando holds Luke and allows the hedgehogs to carry his food to the window so he can stop the chaos and sleep peacefully. When it is almost over, Ferdinand resolves to return home no matter what, and he leaves the stable and walks to the fence to do so. However, when he attempts to pass the obstacle, he receives a shock that almost causes brain damage. As soon as Ferdinand hits the ground, 3 horses appear and begin to laugh in his face. As soon as he sees them, Ferdinand believes they can assist him and asks how to get through the fence, but the horses become offended and threaten to call the humans if he attempts to cross again. The following morning, Luke awakens before everyone else, and as she exits the barn, she overhears the humans discussing El Primero's arrival at Casa del Toro. Excited, the goat returns to the stable and rouses all of the bulls to share the news. However, in her excitement, she steps on Ferdinand's tail and is kicked so hard that she crashes violently into the wall. Mr. Moreno goes outside to greet the guest at this time. He arrives at Casa del Toro as his employees are releasing the bulls. El Primero informs Mr. Moreno that he has arrived to select the best bull for his final match before retiring. When the workers have finished preparing the bulls in the arena, El Primero goes to the stands and the men open the exit gate for the animals. However, Ferdinand refuses to enter the arena, and since he is in front of the others, he ends up blocking the entrance in order to make room for them. Valiente causes Ferdinand to enter the arena by kicking him in the rear. Now that the path is clear, the other bulls enter and begin fighting among themselves. However, one of the employees is unable to escape in time and begins to be pursued by Maquina, a bizarre bull created in a laboratory. Valiente headbutts Ferdinand and challenges him to a fight, while Maquina charges the man with his horn. Guapo then arrives and knocks Valiente unconscious with a horn. Valiente, knowing that Guapo lacks self-confidence, challenges him to demonstrate his full potential to El Primero. Guapo eventually feels too much pressure and passes out in the center of the arena. Concerned for his friend, Ferdinand rushes to check on him, but in doing so, he gets in the way of Bones, who hits Makina when he swerves and throws the employee far away. Upon observing the chaos in the arena, El Primero stops the bullfight and declares that the animals are unfit for the event. In response to Mr. Martin's insistence, El Primero decides to give the bulls a second chance, but warns that if he doesn't get the champion animal, he will ruin Casa del Toro's reputation throughout the country and bankrupt the establishment. On their way out of the arena, the other bulls begin to dispute with Ferdinand because he has humiliated them all. However, in the midst of their disagreement, when they hear Guapo shouting outside, they go to investigate. The bull enters the truck while celebrating El Primero's selection. When the truck departs, however, Bones realizes that this is not the truck of the winner, but rather the vehicle that will transport him to the slaughterhouse. As night falls, while contemplating Nina and his farm, Ferdinand begins to hear a strange sound. When he looks to the side, he notices that Bones is crying for Guapo, so he spends the night comforting him. The following morning, Ferdinand exits the stable and encounters El Primero watching the bulls train, but he cannot stop thinking about Guapo in the slaughterhouse. Realizing that the bull is preoccupied, Lupe approaches him to encourage him to train. But while she is speaking, he notices that a rabbit has appeared in front of the barrel that Angus is about to attack, and he runs to stop him. Without understanding what Ferdinand is saying, Angus continues to run towards the barrel. This compels Ferdinand to push him away quickly. Ferdinand attempts to stop before he reaches the rabbit, but he is unable to do so in time and must use his horns to avoid the terrified rabbit. After falling into a barrel of water on his horn, Ferdinand observes the unconscious rabbit and dashes to him in an attempt to revive him. When he sees what his pupil has done, Luke goes to Ferdinand and begins to fight with him to help him focus on the fight. However, the bull insists that he does not enjoy fighting. However, upon hearing this, the three horses reappear and mock the goat, claiming that bulls cannot dance. Ferdinand, intent on proving them wrong, approaches the fence and begins a tap dance of supremacy. When the horses see Ferdinand dancing, they mock his movements and respond with a team dance step. Angus observes that Ferdinand is alone against three and requests that Lupe regurgitate his harmonica so that he, too, may dance. Again, the horses respond by dancing in a trio and forming a heart with their bodies, as Ferdinand and Angus watch with blank expressions. When it's the bull's turn again, the hedgehogs play music through the electric fence, and Bones joins the battle by performing break dance moves. Now, 3 times, on the third, bulls and horses commence a street dance competition. But quickly, Makina decides to enter the competition and challenges the leader of the horses to a square-backed duel. With Makina in the ring, the bulls easily humiliate their opponents, and the horses, realizing they are losing, fight amongst themselves until they touch the fence and are electrocuted. The bulls approach the water trough after the battle to celebrate their victory. However, Valiente reminds them that non-combatant bulls are always sent to the slaughterhouse. Knowing that this is not true, Ferdinand argues that they are free to do whatever they want outside of the city. But Valiente responds that Ferdinand would not have been sent back to Casa del Toro if he were truly free. Influenced by what Valiente said, Bones and the others return to practice and leave Ferdinand and Lepi alone. Ferdinand says he will flee that night and take Lepi to meet Nina. Exciting the goat considerably, Fernando consults the hedgehogs for assistance in carrying out his escape plan as he considers his options. According to them, however, the only way to escape the house where the humans are trapped is to pass through it. Ferdinand jumps out the window and into the garage, but he lands on top of El Primero's car, which begins to make noise. The employees walk to the garage upon hearing the sound, and to prevent Ferdinand from being captured, the hedgehogs begin dancing to distract the humans. Fernando walks silently through the house until he finds a picture of his father with his horns hung on the wall, after the animals have scared away the staff. Inferring that this is the fate of all bulls fighting in the arena, Ferdinand observes dozens of additional pictures of horns on the wall as he looks higher up. At this point, the hedgehogs are able to open the exit door, but Ferdinand returns to warn his friends that the arena is nothing more than a slaughterhouse. However, Valiente refuses to believe him and shoves him out of the stable before challenging him to a fight. Upon observing Valiente's predicament, Ferdinand refuses to fight and attempts to calm him. However, the bull will not listen and begins to force him up until he breaks his horn. During this time, El Primero was observing from the balcony. selects Ferdinand as his rival in Madrid, while Mr. Moreno sends Valiente to the butcher. Concerned that Valiente has been kidnapped, Loop suggests they leave immediately, but Ferdinand insists that Valiente must accompany them. The hedgehogs lure the traders into the stable and set a trap for them, knowing that the horses will alert the humans upon spotting them outside. With the horses no longer present, Makina consumes the high-tension wire from the fence, and the bulls run to help secure the stable door. Now that the path is clear, Ferdinand exits Casa del Toro and sprints to the slaughterhouse, where he discovers Valiente dejected in a pen. Determined to save him, Ferdinand removes the cell door and tries to persuade Valiente to flee, but Valiente insists that he must fulfill his destiny. At that moment, Ferdinand hears Guapo pleading for assistance within the slaughterhouse and decides to attempt to rescue him. However, when he arrives, he passes through the infrared beam that activates the machines in the location. Fernando pursues Guapo as he is about to be eliminated, but his attempts to stop the belt are futile. Valiente runs past Guapo and places a bar of iron in the middle of the press, preventing Guapo from becoming a hamburger. Still, the machines continue to operate and remove Guapo. However, as they observe their friend's abduction, another fish passes by and catches their horn. Therefore, the three are taken directly to an ice machine, which freezes them and places them on a conveyor belt leading to the garage. The bulls, however, run too fast and end up in a garbage can outside the factory. Together, they race down the hill until they collide with the truck of the winner. However, this noise ends up waking up the humans, forcing them to flee immediately. To exit the vehicle as quickly as possible, the hedgehog should enter the driver's cab, while the bulls should move to the back. The animals prepare to flee Casa del Toro, with the hedgehogs at the helm. However, as they pass through the gate, the rabbit again gets in front of them and faints from fear when he is almost run over, forcing Ferdinand to pick him up and place him in the back of the vehicle while the humans pursue them. Makina uses the electricity he received from eating the fence to create a type of defibrillator that causes the rabbit to awaken instantly by rubbing his paws together. After eluding the humans, the animals arrive in Madrid, but are eventually apprehended after being stuck in traffic for hours. When he sees the pursuers, Ferdinand has the idea to flee along the tracks as he did as a child, but the employees continue to pursue them all the way to the station. As soon as they arrive, Ferdinand assists one of the hedgehogs in climbing onto a wagon to locate the train, and they discover that it has already left. In an effort to reach the locomotive, the bulls push a manual wagon until it gains sufficient speed to catch up with the train. However, upon realizing that the humans will continue to pursue them, Ferdinand orders everyone to climb up and returns to stop them, only to be captured. With Ferdinand's return, officials transport him to the Madrid arena for the big event. However, as reporters cover the event, Juan sees the bull on television and goes with Nina to save him. When the big day arrives, a woman in the crowd throws a flower at El Primero as he enters the arena, but the self-centered man simply tosses the flower on the ground. El Primero then signals his men to open the door, allowing Ferdinand to enter the arena calmly and face-to-face with the bull. When El Primero realizes that Ferdinand is unwilling to fight, he orders his men to stab the bull with spears. Fernando runs from one side of the arena to the other while El Primero avoids him as he flees the humans. A moment of carelessness causes the bullfighter's red cloth to become entangled in the bull's horns, obscuring his vision. Without vision, Ferdinand struggles from side to side as El Primero attempts to recover the muleta's cover, provoking him. The bullfighter finally manages to grasp the cloth after numerous attempts, but Ferdinand pulls away, causing El Primero to fall on top of him. With El Primero mounted on the bull, Ferdinand begins to struggle until he knocks him out of the arena, further humiliating El Primero. Furious, the bullfighter returns to the arena, armed with two sharp spears and prepared to attack Ferdinand. Yet again, the animal avoids the man. After repeatedly being humiliated by the bull, El Primero finally manages to hit Ferdinand, who grabs the bullfighter and prepares to attack him. However, when he realizes he has stepped on the flower, the woman, he remembers who he truly is, calms down and releases El Primero. At this point, the bullfighter departs slowly, leaving Ferdinand to smell the flower. El Primero soon returns with a sword and prepares to kill him. When Ferdinand, however, sits down and refuses to fight back, the audience begins to question El Primero. Allow the bull to live. The man, won over by the crowd, greets Ferdinand and then exits the arena. Nina invades the location and finally catches up with Ferdinand, who is greeted with flowers after the conclusion of the dispute. Valiente and the other bulls arrive at that moment to assist Ferdinand, but they immediately realize that the event is over and that the big bull of the flower has won. After the arena battle, Mr. Moreno gives Lou Ferdinand and the others to Nina so that they may experience love and freedom for the first time.